Hello and welcome back to 2 Cent Tuesdays for more tips and tricks on everyday living. I'm Sam Guthrie, the Community and Outreach Coordinator at Remedy Church. Today on our video, we have our career coach, Tom Colosimo, who's going to be helping us out with how to write an effective resume. Now, last year, a lot of people have lost their jobs and are looking for work. Other people are just looking for something new. So he is going to help us with how we can do this effectively with writing our resumes. So keep paying attention for more information, and welcome, Tom.
Good day. My name is Tom Colosimo, and I'm a career coach and help many professionals around the Twin Cities area here in Minnesota, as well as across the country, with their resume, job searching techniques and strategies. LinkedIn and networking, of course, is always important. I've been doing this for over 11 years now. I worked within higher education as a career coach and corporate relations manager with a prominent local private university. Currently, I work with several universities in the area, as well as high schools, doing work with JA, AVID programs, DECA, and Best Prep, and enjoyed very much helping people from all ages with their career searching, pathway development from high school all the way through their 60s. And I'm also an avid sports fan with the Minnesota Twins. I actually worked with them part-time as well. So you can see from what's behind me here, it's a little bit of what I bring to the table from that standpoint too, helping with them and enjoying their organization very much. So I look forward to having future sessions with you here as we'll walk through the resume techniques and content structure, things of that nature that make good resumes, winning resumes, and help people land in jobs across the country. This is a very important cog in the wheel, so to speak, of your job searching, career transitioning. The resume is your cornerstone document. It must be clear and concise. It's got to be easy to read, easy to understand, and simple. It's about quality over quantity. The resume should be laid out in a fashion that's easy for a recruiter that can read through it quickly in 15 seconds to pick up the keywords and things of that nature that they are looking for to hire somebody like you on. And so you must connect the dots. It's always the analogy of what their needs are and what I have to bring to those needs to help them solve problems. It's really that way. It's not about, I need a job, give me a job. It's about, what can I do for you, the company, the employer of the future? So again, having a resume that's clearly laid out in a very easy manner. It can be one page if you have less than 5 years experience, or 2 pages max if you have 40 years of experience. That's the most you can go on those. Make sure that you have a summary at the top of the page that kind of does a little bit of an introduction for who you are, what you are, and where you want to go. And then education would be at the top if it's fresh. If it's recent, you want to put your MBA up there, your undergrad, depending on where you are in your career. Otherwise, the education goes to the end of the resume. And then the next section is called core competencies. This is where you list out your soft skills and your hard skills. Your soft skills kind of relate to who you are, your DNA, what makes you who you are. When people think of you, what's your characteristics? What are your characteristics from that standpoint? The hard skills are the technology, the experience you've had that you've learned either through school or on the job, the technologies and things that you've learned to apply to the job. So those are the 2 different things that you mix in that core comp area. The hard skills are the ones that are tailored to each job that you're applying for, because they're looking for certain specifications. You want to be able to attach the dots, so to speak, by using those same words and expectations and qualifications that match up to that. The next section underneath that is, of course, your professional experience. This should be laid out in a very clear and concise manner as well. The name of the company should go first, the entity where you're working or where you worked. Underneath that then would be the title of the job that you had while you were working there. Then you get into the actual bullets that talk about key initiatives and impactful things that you did. Up to 5 bullets, no more than that. Don't have 20 bullets. People don't want to read tons of bullets, and they won't read tons of bullets. They only want to hit the facts perfectly right on. So again, it's quality over quantity. So have 5 bullets that come across with the STAR story. What I mean by the STAR story is it has to do with statement, task, action, result. So it's an acronym. STAR, S-T-A-R, statement, task, action, result of what you did in that particular position. So you're laying it out in a way that people understand the activities that you were engaging with, the action you took, and that the results of that activity. If it was growing sales by X%, reducing costs by X%, the size and scope of the team that you led, whatever, process improvement, efficiency gains, all that kind of stuff. People are wild and crazy to hear about that type of thing, especially if their jobs are requiring that. After you go through your jobs one by one, don't go back any further. For those of you who have more than 15 to 20 years experience, don't go back in detail like that any further than 15 years. What you do with those older jobs is that you put that in a section called Other Experience Includes. And it's just a paragraph talking in generalities of what types of jobs you had, what type of expertise you were using back in the days before 15 years ago. If you're going back and you've only worked 10 to 15 years, good, you're golden. You can just put all your jobs on that resume and go from there. After you've gone through your jobs, then the last section is called, I call it additional/technical. And this is where you put your technology software that you're familiar with and can work with very well. And you also put any volunteer work you're working with or have done in the past, any certifications, any awards that you've won, things of nature that stand out that you want to put those in that section. But especially the software that you've worked on, SAP, Microsoft Suite, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, SAS, SQL, all the different types of things, ABCs that are out there as far as softwares go. And again, you're trying to tailor it to the needs of the employer, what they're looking for on the job requirements, the job description. You want to address that and attach that. Think of the resume as a marketing brochure, a marketing paper that you're using with your application, and to make you be the star person for that employer and who want to get them to hire you and bring you in for that interview, and put on your best foot forward from that standpoint. So that's the simple ABCs of resumes. It's really the cornerstones, the starting point, being focused, being detailed but not overly detailed, being simple, and showing plenty of white space and consistency in the structure. Keep it consistent so people can scan it quickly and follow it very logically. In our first segment, we talked a little bit about the sections, what the whole point of a resume is, a little bit about the content, structure, format, very important. This time, we're going to talk a little bit more about what not to put on the resume. If we just think of the resume as a statement of achievements and not a job description per se, that's going to be the key thing. You don't want to have a resume just sounding like all the bullets are just saying, I did this and I did this and I did this, but you really don't go into any in-depth description of what you did and the impact of what you did. Again, I might have mentioned this in session 1 earlier, that there's this acronym that we use called the STAR story, STAR, statement, task, action, result. That's an acronym that's used by many recruiters around the country, really very common. And it's a way to describe the impact that you've made in the jobs that you've had. No matter how simple they may be, if you can quantify them and put numbers to them or stats or results that are impactful from the work that you did, that will be impressive. And that's what will impress the hiring managers. If you're going after a marketing job, you would put things that deal with marketing or possible marketing plans. But the thing is, today we're talking about what you do not want to put on a resume, and that is the sounding of a job description. Again, keeping things very blah, so to speak, not going into much detail. For example, if you worked at a Caribou, I distributed coffee every day or something like that, which is just an obvious type of thing that would happen. So what you want to do is get into more details about customer service and retaining business and having people come back. It's not just doing the whole hum of the job. That's the key thing. So you want to make sure that there's no spelling errors, obviously, that the grammar is correct and proper. And furthermore, then have it be impactful, not generic. So from the summary to your core competencies, to the actual description, your education description of the jobs you've had, all the way to the additional technical sections at the bottom, you want to be as explicit and detailed to what activities that pertain to you that you performed in those jobs as you did, and be able to quantify the impact. That's what hiring managers are looking for. They're looking for people who can help make a change if needed and problem solve. Help us. We need help. Can you come on board and help us? We need that impactful description on your resume to excite them, to want to give you a call, to have that initial chat, and then you can take it from there with your interviewing process and skills. We're going to talk about the template style of the typical resume that recruiters are looking for. This is very important, that it has clarity, that it's laid out in a way that's very functional, that you can understand, and that it has those impactful statements in there that I've said in the previous sessions as well. So to start out with, I'm going to bring up, share a screen here and bring up a template that I use with a lot of my clients, and we'll get this set up right now. So here we have the one that's a dummy template, so to speak, Sally Doe. And at the top, you have the header information, somewhere in Minnesota, your email address, phone number, and your LinkedIn URL. It's very important that you have a LinkedIn profile, number one, because all recruiters and companies are really looking for that now more than ever. It's becoming commonplace. So you got to have that. And that URL or address would go up here. And you make sure that you customize that address from what you are given when you first sign into LinkedIn. It'll give you this kind of an uncustom, very long and very cumbersome looking address. You want to customize that with your name or something that identifies you as a unique, customized approach. So that would go up there in the URL line. Then we go into the first section called the summary. Here, it would be a paragraph or 2 to 3 sentences stating where you've been and where you are and where you want to go. And you customize that by the job that you're going for. So it's 2 to 3 sentences. It's not very long, talking a little bit about what you've been doing, what skills you bring to the forefront, and then what particular job that you're looking for in earnest interest in that. Then this section here, education, can either be put at the end of the resume. In this case here, I have it towards the top of the resume, and that's due to the fact that this person graduated recently. We are putting it at the top of the resume. If you graduated from school education or whatever years back, let's say more than 10 years ago, then the education spot would go towards the end of the resume. But in our contents here, we're putting it at the top. So you list the name of the school, obviously in bold, where they're located, the year that you graduated, your major, 2 or 3 classes, possibly put those in their core classes that you had. And let's say you had another degree from Century or a 2-year degree, AA degree from Century or Embry Hills or St. Paul College, community college of some sort. You would put that underneath here and the year that you graduated from that institution. Then what you go into is the core competencies. In one of my prior sessions, I talked a little bit about core competencies. That's your soft skills and your hard skills that you have that match up well to the job that you're going for. Your soft skills, again, are your characteristics, your personality. They're kind of what you're born with. If you're detail-oriented or you're customer service-driven, or you're empathetic or things like that, hard worker, those are the types of descriptions that would go in there from that standpoint. The hard skills are like, reconciliations if you're an accountant or if you're an engineer, designing bridges or designer or architect or things like that are more hardcore skills that you bring to the table from that standpoint. And you would put those in column fashion, the 1 or 2 words, phrases that you would put there in column fashion, 3 columns across if you like, so you could have 3 columns of 5 to get you up to 15. And that would go into the core competency area. Next, we get into the real core of it, the professional experience. So you always put the name of the entity first, the location and the total years that you worked there, a short description of what their products and services were of that company. Then if your title of your job, if it was senior business analyst, then you would have a short description of the duties that you did within that title and that element. And then you list out 3 to 5 bullets of impactful star stories. Again, star stories are statement, task, action, result. That's something that the recruiters are looking for. So you want to have that on there in very descriptive, impactful ways. Bullets that talk about your impact that you made. Maybe if you quantify it with, again, with revenue increases, cost reductions, size of teams you worked on, volumes of inventories, size of inventories, things like that, that can be drawn to it with numeric value. They love seeing that type of thing. So you want to have that on here as it states here. And then you go job by job, company by company. So here's General Mills, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Again, this, you state out here the years that you worked there, month year to month year. And then if you had separate jobs within the time that you were working at General Mills, you would keep those separated as I have here. This first job here was from June 2016 to November 2017. And then that was your senior accountant job. And then you had your staff accountant job that went from May 2015 to June 2016. And then you would have your bullets underneath that job the same way. So that would be like 2 jobs that you had within General Mills, and you would kind of stack them that way. That would total the total years that you worked there. The first job here, Google only had 1 job. So that would just be all in itself and all inclusive that way. Then we go down to the last section here. It's called additional technical. And this is where you list out the various types of software that you've worked with. It might be Microsoft Excel, Access, Word, PowerPoint, or it could be these other softwares that are out there. There's so many of them: SAP, SAS, SQL. Lots of acronyms for these software skills that are out there. So you want to list them on there. You would list out volunteer things that you've done in your past. If it's Habitat for Humanity or Feed My Starving Children, or some type of mission work or whatever it might be, that would be also stated on here to show your variety and your breadth of your life, a balanced life, a balanced person. That's what companies are looking for, that somebody that can help out with volunteering in the community. Many corporations are looking for people who have done some type of volunteering. US Bank, Target, Ecolab, you name it, General Mills, they all give PTO time off to do volunteer work. So they like to see a well-rounded person coming into their ranks, for sure. If you have any type of special recognitions or awards, you would list those out down here as well, and as stated here. So that's basically it, the template itself, from the header, the summary, education, core competencies, professional experience that you have, and breaking it down by job and company, and then additional technical at the bottom. Again, very straightforward, very consistent, with plenty of white spaces. Remember, no spelling errors, numerically correct. Make sure that your bullets are not longer than 2 lines wrap. So, I mean, you can have them 1 line, but you do not want them to become a paragraph. A bullet is a bullet. So we don't want to see a bullet become a paragraph of sentences upon sentences. People won't read that and they'll disregard it, unfortunately. So that's pretty much it from the standpoint of templates for resumes. Again, soft skills are words that we use in how we interview or what we have on our resume, even on our LinkedIn profile. Soft skills are talking about the character that you are, your personality, what you grew up being. It's really what makes you who you are. I call it your DNA. It's really hard to change these types of things. That if you're a detail-oriented person or a customer service driven or positive person, energetic, that's who you are. And those things can be tailored a little bit, but pretty much they're who you are. Hard skills, meanwhile, are those things that you've learned through education, on job that you've been on, that you've learned new tools, software, things of that nature, just different types of things like that, that we work on and focus on to enhance ourselves through our life of working in careers and in jobs. I'm going to put up a slide here that's going to show the comparison of the difference between soft skills and hard skills. As you can see on the left-hand side, those are hard skills versus soft skills on the right-hand side. And you can see that hard skills are more detailed to software and different types of statistical analysis, data mining, things that you would learn on the job or in school. We're having a little technical difficulty here where you can see the soft skills are those items that are integrity, dependability, detail-oriented, things of that nature. As you can see, problem solving, critical thinking. Those items are who you are based on your DNA and how you've grown up, your environment, who you are. It's really hard to change those things. But again, the hard skills are the things on the left-hand side that you've learned as you've gone through school, or jobs that you've been on, career research you've done, definitely focusing on the software skills as well as the other types of things like statistical analysis, network security, Adobe software, data management, things like that, that are really what you pick up and learn at school, online, or just being on the job. So as you can see here, these are very important skills to demonstrate on your format within your resume. I've talked to many recruiters over the years and hiring managers, and they really, of course, want to see those hard skills that will relate to the job itself. But the soft skills are very, very important to them as well, too. If you're somebody that has a good personality, that you're energetic, and you bring this content with you to the job, and you're coachable and lifelong learning, they see that vibrancy. They recognize that and want you to be part of their team. If you come across with very bad soft skills, don't talk much, look down, feel sad, just not engaging sometimes, that's going to be tough. That's what they're looking for, somebody that can fit into the teams and be a performer, somebody that's coachable, and somebody that can learn new things from that standpoint. To learn those new things, we're talking about those hard skills on the left-hand side. So hopefully this has been helpful for you to understand the difference between hard skills and soft skills and how important they both are, but how uniquely important it is for having great soft skills too. Actually, it's very simple. Getting to know career coaches out there, or even talking to recruiters who are in the field that you're interested in to see what they like to see on the resumes, or there's another avenue. Obviously, there's a lot of selection you can do online through Google searching on resume writing and resume formats. But the key thing is that you want to have a resume that is, again, very simply laid out, very consistently structured with this, again, the summary, your education or core competencies at the top listed out. Then your professional experience in a very succinct manner with the name of the company, your title, the definition of the company, your title and definition of your job, and then 3 to 5 key bullets that focus on star stories, talking about impactful things that you've done and putting quantifiers, numbers in there to support that claim to fame, so to speak. So it's very simple that way. The last section would be the additional technical, getting into the software skills you have, the volunteer work you've done, any certifications you picked up recently, any awards that you won recently as well. Want to keep things fairly current. If things start getting older, more than 5 years past, then it's probably the time to drop some of those items off. Again, a resume only goes back in detail 10 to 15 years. It's not something that you go back many years, like 25 years, or it's not any longer than 2 pages. So you keep it between 1 and 2 pages, depending on how much experience you have. So that's basically it. To really research online, talk to recruiters who would like to give you some information about what they like to see in resumes. They're very open to talk about that, as well as get a career coach like myself or others that are out there that can help you with that process too. Again, that's the simple words for today. All about resumes and all about networking. This is Tom Colosimo. Hope you've enjoyed this short chat today. Thank you.
Thanks so much again, Tom, for all of your help with this video. And if you have any more questions or want more information on how to write an effective resume, Tom's email will be linked in the description below, so feel free to send him a message and ask those questions. He'll get back to you as soon as he can. Thank you again for joining us on this video. Before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we have upcoming videos released. We do release a new video the first Tuesday of every month, so look forward to that. We'll see you next time.